Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little minute since you've seen my face, but for a good reason. Today we want to talk about some of the cheapest universities in Canada. As international students, we know it's not cheap, but these are some of the cheapest options that we will discuss today. And by the way, I have not necessarily been MIA. I was actually in Jamaica doing some seminars and sessions with persons that are interested in coming to Canada. And if I met you, it was great meeting you. So keep watching this video and we'll go through the list for persons that are still interested in studying in Canada for next year. So the first one on my list is the University of Regina. So Regina is in Saskatchewan, and Saskatchewan is a province in Canada. Surprise, surprise, Toronto is not the entire Canada. No. So Saskatchewan is one of the provinces, and Regina is in that province. So in Saskatchewan, the University of Regina is actually quite cheap. Like it's considerably cheap for international education, especially for master's program. And if you are a teacher or you're in human resource management, they have a relatively cheap program. So definitely check out University of Regina. I heard that it's beautiful, but y'all, it's really cold. But if you want to come into Canada, this is somewhere that you can definitely start. So the other school I want to talk about is Prince Edward Island University. For persons that are from the Caribbean or of color and you're afraid to go to certain provinces, what I can tell you for a fact is that there are colored students going to Prince Edward Island University. Prince Edward Island, I'll just spruce them up a little bit. They are actually surrounded by beaches, so in the summertime, that might be something for you and your friends and your family to do. So this is definitely one to keep on your radar. Another thing about Prince Edward Island, it is one of the 4 Atlantic provinces, which means you have accessibility to the Atlantic immigration program. With that being said, provinces like Prince Edward Island, you have provincial nomination and you set yourself up for when they have any sort of random programs popping up in these provinces that are underpopulated. So keep that one in mind. The next one that I don't know my feeling about this one, but I'll still tell you about this one. So this one is called Brandon University and it's in Manitoba. The reason why I say I don't know my feeling about this one is that this one is kind of associated with a church and they don't have a lot of program options. But definitely it is relatively cheap. So check it out if you align with what they are offering. The next one is Memorial University of Newfoundland. So let's step back a little bit when we're talking about Newfoundland, because Newfoundland is one of those provinces that are a little bit further out. It's a small community, not much people of color. And if you're coming alone, I definitely would not recommend this one for you. But if you're coming with a family and you just need to get a start and you need to get a step in, then this program is definitely applicable for you. And if you're somebody that's not interested in this whole study thing, you can consider the Atlantic Immigration Program and you can try to get a job in Newfoundland instead of going to school. But the school is a cheap one. The next one is University of Saskatchewan. So we spoke about University of Regina, but this one is not as cheap, but they might have programs. So let me stop to say that not all programs at these universities will be cheap. The tuition fee is not standard right across the board, but of course they will vary by program to program and based on the level that you want to study. If you want to study a master's, if you want to study a degree, it depends on the program. So don't just say, oh, she told me that this one was cheap, but it's not cheap. It might not be cheap for your program, but just so you know, this is an option for you to look into. All right, guys. So University of Saskatchewan, again, it's in Saskatchewan. Um, what I'd say about Saskatchewan is that Saskatchewan is a little bit cold. um, and probably too often cold. Yeah, so I heard that Saskatchewan is quite cold and they have longer winter than probably us in Ontario. So something to consider, but can always wear multiple jackets, multiple different things. It's all about getting in, getting the cheapest tuition, and then you can move to somewhere that you are most comfortable with. So definitely don't rule them out. Don't, still look into them. All right. The next one is in the beautiful province of British Columbia. So it's Simon Fraser University. Of course, beautiful. Another one that's not on my list, but it's also in BC is University of Canada West. A lot of these schools will have particular programs that are cheap. So if, for example, you are looking to study human resource management and you're looking to do a master's, look at all the different options for your particular program to compare prices. So BC is beautiful. It's a little bit expensive, but you can check out a little bit expensive in terms of cost of living in certain areas. But of course, it's a large province, and not all cities in the province is expensive. So similar to Ontario, not all cities in Ontario is expensive. So Simon Fraser University and University of Canada West, those are two options in British Columbia that I would say definitely check out and look into. The last one on my list today is Mount St. Vincent University. So this one is in Nova Scotia. Again, we're going to revert back to the whole Atlantic immigration program because that's also one of the Atlantic provinces. And with that being said, you have a little bit more accessibility to a few more programs than if you are in the other provinces. Another thing is that you might be able to get a provincial nomination in these provinces because once again a little bit more underpopulated. And don't just look to say you're going to do the express entry alone. You can look into provincial nomination, you can look into other different options. So definitely guys, these are all the options that you have. Bear in mind that not all schools will be cheap for all programs, but also when you are choosing a school, think about your immigration journey. Think about what you want that picture to look like and think about plan A, B, and C. So let's say, for example, if you can't get through to express entry, you still want to be able to get a provincial nomination, or you still want to be able to try out the Atlantic nomination program, especially since you're going to be in the province. You can kind of walk around to these different places. Long and short of it is some provinces give you more pathways to immigrate after you study or during your studies, whereas others have a little bit more competition. So just bear that in mind. All of these options are great ones for you to consider. And I hope this video was very informative. As I mentioned earlier, I'm sorry that it's so late for the person that asked me to do it, but I was actually in Jamaica, like I also said at the first part of the video. But we are back on track now and back to regularly scheduled program. Hope you all have been enjoying all the episodes of Unfiltered. And if you don't watch any yet, please check them out. I'm sure you'll be intrigued, and if they'll encourage you on your journey to Canada. Remember our saying, dream big and work hard. And as you all know, I've been going with the scripture Philippians 4 verse 13 this year. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I hope that encourage you while you watch this. Take care.